Earlier, today we are going to start the fourth unit. Okay, so that is so far we have discussed about what is the electrical vehicle and what are all the different configurations of hybrid electrical vehicle. So how we are going to feed them. That is in case of what are all the components of electrical vehicle, what are the components of hybrid electrical vehicle, and what are all the energy storage systems. So that we identified for providing the required amount of energy to the system. So now, so apart from that, a small luxury cars to up to a bus and trucks, like a e-bus and e-trucks. And there is another one traction that is electric traction also is that is electric train. Okay, so that is also we can very well we can able to use electrical energy. So because earlier a huge amount of consumption of coal, then they converted into diesel engine. Then there are also a huge amount of pollution it cost because the dead weight and how much the tractive force, tractive power required for train. If that has to be accomplished by any internal combustion engine, you can imagine the volume of fuel they spend. So instead of that, if we use the electrical energy, that will be very much pollution free, completely pollution free, and we can have a quite good control over the traction. Okay, any speed that is braking. So during braking also, if a if a huge structure like with a heavy moment of inertia, if a traction that is the engine of a particular electric train is brake. Okay, so if you are applying a braking operation, then huge amount of energy is wasted in brake shoes. So that if you are employing electric traction method, then automatically that can be recovered back. So it will be a highly efficient system, pollution free, highly efficient system. Only thing, a initial amount of investment, so huge amount of investment, because unlike electric car or buses and trucks, we cannot have energy storage system within that. We cannot store electrical energy, and with that can be spent because it is a very huge structure. So huge amount of tractive force that has to be created. So if we are interested in that, there will be a huge amount of battery and all will be there. Instead of that, so what really existing is getting a electrical energy from the overhead transmission line. Overhead transmission line using a pantograph, we can able to tap, we can able to always connect it to the electrical energy. So throughout the track, say above the track, we can have power line, okay, which is with the high voltages. So automatically we can able to use very huge amount of power motors, huge power motors. Earlier they used to DC motor, now they used completely AC motors only. So automatically, when any regenerative braking also possible, during the regenerative braking, we can able to fed back into source also. That means through the overhead line, we can able to return it back also. So because of that, it is completely pollution free. Country like India and the US and all, they already implemented. Still, very less percentage of area only is not covered with electric traction. Still, they are using a conventional means of internal combustion engine or diesel engine or gasoline engine they are used. Okay, so that also will be soon they will be electrified, modified. So as a student studying okay electrical vehicle concept, that is also a concept of electrical vehicle. Only difference is we are not keeping the energy storage system. So wherever the power is generated through the generated station, it will be connected to a substation. From the substation, it will be connected to the electrical system substation. From the electrical system substation, it will be the voltage will be higher or to the required level. It will be stepped up or stepped down automatically. Complete traction. Okay, so complete above the railway track, we can have a overhead transmission line. So from there, we can able to tap it. So we are going to study the particular concept only in this unit, complete electric traction and all. Okay, so we'll start. we are going to see. So this is the content we are going to see. So what is electric traction and the brief history of electric traction and how much voltages that are used for the electric traction in India and what are the types of electric traction system, advantage of going for electric traction because already there is no need of any specifically mention what is the advantage because already you know very well about that and comparison and gasoline engine, how much the CO2 can be saved. Okay, so carbon dioxide that we are liberated. So compared to the particular, so as the existing concept is there, so using a fossil fuel only we are generating. Okay, so there is a another means by means of nuclear power plant, by means of renewable energy sources, huge amount huge amount of power plants are coming up. So if they are also contribute to that, so it will be real meaning of pollution free will be there. The real meaning of pollution free will be there, and you know all the advantages. So definitely having electric traction that is having a disadvantages. So it is like a centralized means of power generation. So where we are getting tapping the energy. Say for example, except the hydel power plant, except the hydel power plant remaining all nuclear power plant, thermal power plants, all the major power plant, which contributing more percentage to the overall generation. Okay, having the disadvantages, producing power and transmitting, so transmission losses also is there. That also making pollutions. So a nuclear power plant is assumed to be a pollution free provider if I'm having a very safe technology for disposal of the less radioactivity material. Actually, what we are doing, we are enriching the radioactivity materials. So already we identified some radioactivity materials. We have enriched them, enriched the radioactivity. Then we are using them as a fuel. So you know all these calculations and all. So 1 kg of fuel, 1 kg of a nuclear fuel can capable of producing 1,000 megawatts for about 8 to 12 years completely. So after that, the radioactivity of the particular material will be decreased, may not be much enough for power production. So that has to be very safely disposed. So safely disposing of 1 kg fuel. Okay, so it is if you're seeing that 1 kg fuel, it is very less but safe disposal of that it is a it's leads to technology unless otherwise so there will be a lot of harmful to being okay if not properly disposed it will be continually emitting the radiations which lead to the all the living beings as in a dangerous position. So if we are properly disposed there's no question of that. So nuclear energy will be the clean energy, very clean energy. So next to electrical energy, so nuclear energy is a very clean energy. Using that energy, if you are producing electrical energy, then it will be a very good opt one. But unfortunately, what are the recent developments that especially after the tsunami that hit Japan, and because of that, some nuclear power plant, so water entered the nuclear power plant, and uncontrollable nuclear reaction happened. After that, somehow they able to control it. Okay, so, and some of the Chernobyl disaster, especially in the Russia, when it was United States of Soviet Russia. So in Chernobyl also there was one accident happened. So whatever may be the impact or consequences of those accidents, still we are suffering. So that is the reason why I said if a proper safety measures are incorporated, there is no any other form of energy available as clean as nuclear energy because no pollution. So with a less amount of fuel, we can able to produce huge amount of energy. So only the installation cost, okay, only the installation cost for about installing 1,000 megawatt of energy, we need around 15,000 crores. We know what is the history of a Kodangulam power project, Kodangulam nuclear power plant. We know that very well. So it took how long? It took okay. So nearly to set up four such a units. Only two such a units are now operating. So that means 2,000 megawatt. So we have waited for around 20-25 years. But if it is continuously properly running without any safety issues and all, especially when the disposal of the used radioactivity materials concerned. So definitely it will be very much safer one. So, but unfortunately, world now because of the accidents, because of the very worst consequences of such accidents. So now it is entire diversion into the renewable energy. That also a very good sign. Okay, so if you take any disadvantage of electric traction, huge amount of power is required. If you want to switch over from a gasoline engine or to the diesel engine to a electrical traction means that much amount of power additionally has to be the burden for any country. So they have to set up additional infrastructure, additional investment for producing that much amount of power. If that much power is also once again it depends on the fossil fuels. So okay, there is no any meaning in conversion. But fortunately, a huge amount of development, especially in the renewable energy sector, happens. So until a decade before, it was about 3% only. Now it has reached almost 7-8% of overall contribution of energy sectors, especially a developing country like India. It reached around 13-14% now. So, so that is a good sign. So if all the commercial aspect, all the household appliances, all the wherever we can able to tap that renewable energy sources by installing the rooftop PV panel or in a mass level. Okay, so government level, if they are able to establish a solar park like that with a huge capacity of 100 megawatt, 200 megawatt, so with a empty land, dry lands available which cannot be used for cultivating, but we can able to cultivate the power that is solar energy. So thereby establishing that we can able to meet out whatever may be the other requirements, whereas we can completely depend on this type of nuclear energy, hydro energy, some of the good performing, that are some of the good efficient thermal power plants for this type of thing. If you have diverted those powers, automatically there won't be any disadvantages of electrical traction. The next is system track electrification, how trolley wire and catenary constructions are there. So how the catenary construction can give always a constant pressure or constant touching of a pantograph that were used for current collection. What are the traction motors? And we are going to see also train lighting, not lightning, train lighting and air conditioning. Okay, because there is additional loads also. Apart from the tractive effort, we have to provide this type of train lighting and air conditioning and leading traction systems. So what is really happening in Indian Railways also we are going to see. So electric traction, it means for locomotion. Okay, locomotion in which driving force is obtained from electrical motor. So instead of using earlier they used engine, okay, steam engine. So especially they used coal. So after burning a coal, so that will be uh, like a boiler arrangement. Then it will be enter into the very high superheated steam. Okay, with a high velocity it comes, so it will runs the turbine like that. There's a steam engine. Earlier the concept is steam engine. So because of the huge amount of coal we have to burn, okay, so automatically that will be very polluting, and size of the uh, locomotive area also will be higher, will be dirtiest. Okay, so it will wherever it goes, it will traverse, it will always create pollution and all. So that is the reason why. And if additional coaches, additional compartments are added, okay, automatically this will be slowed down. Okay, so I have to go for additional powered locomotive engines only. That is why the entire world is looking for that, and they have changed to, because all the conventional transport they were shifted to internal combustion engine. The same way, the railways also they shifted from steam engine to internal combustion engine, diesel engines. They experienced very good traction. Okay, so able to travel and able to get additional more load also. But once again, the same problem occurs. The efficiency of any gasoline engine will be, if you take completely starting from the fuel efficiency to the how much the output is coming. If you say that it will be in the order of 30% only. So efficiency is the very big problem. Okay, so and increasing fuel cost. What was the fuel cost? So because it's fixed all over the world per barrel. Okay, so automatically compared to 30 years before, what was the cost? Now it is almost it reached almost it reached 20 30 times more than that. Okay, so automatically increasing fuel costs, keep on increasing fuel costs. And additionally, pollution, as I told in the very first introduction of the particular subject, especially all the world, whenever the particular summit, okay, regarding the pollution happens, every international countries, all other countries, they're accusing. So India and China, beyond the limit of carbon dioxide, CO2 emission on these countries are more. They have not taken much measures to cut down these things. So, as a country, okay, so now there is no any country in this world. It's completely independent. So some countries may be completely independent on the energy sector, or but whereas they have to depend on for other, okay, food grains and other things, they have to depend on some other. Some countries may be completely independent on this type of food grains and other things, but they have to depend on some medical equipments, medicines and all that. So we can able to see, we could witness the same during the corona. Okay, so because so more than 80 percentage of pharmaceuticals are available in India only. So if India denies any medicines, even developed countries, so they will be suffer. So we have seen and witnessed the same during the recent crisis, especially corona pandemic. So when the India refused to, or somewhat they are afraid that whether we can able to meet or local meet, and they refuse to give US, so automatically they get angry over us. Okay, so and they threaten. So this is what. So no country in this world is completely independent, whether it is developed or developing or underdeveloping. So they have to depend on each other. So when any summit like that it is happening, so automatically we have to listen. Even though we are developing, our GDP and all has to be developed every year, and it shows increasing trend. Okay, so but there is some constraints also is that we have to listen to that. So automatically that sort of measure we have to take as a very important measure. So government of India in the 1977, they took a decision that they are going to convert all the existing diesel locomotives to the electric locomotives. So all the traction, all the railway lines and all will be electrified. So now it is almost done. Okay, now almost 80 percentage of the uh, traction is electrified only. So remaining 20% also in the conversion stages only. So maybe in the next 10 years we will all convert completely electric traction only, because pollution will be cut down. Pollution will be cut down, and we already proved that instead of using a centralized means of that is instead of using a spreaded means of this type of fossil fuels for power propulsion, we can able to use them as a centralized means of electricity propulsion. So compared to that, around 50 percentage of the carbon CO2 emissions can be cut down. We already proved. That's the reason why government of India also, after the study, they have decided to go for electric traction. So as far as the electric traction here is concerned, whatever may be the propulsion force, tractive force, earlier it was created by the steam engine, then later it's created by diesel engine. If the same is obtained from electrical motor, that is called electric traction. So the propulsion force or locomotion, okay, force, locomotive force, tractive force, if it is created from electric motors, automatically that will be called electric traction. So it involves utilization of electric power, that is for railways, trams and trolleys. These are all the other forms. Okay, so trams, trolleys. Okay, so now we can even see so many other forms also came. Okay, so if completely used electric power and using motors, so power attractive force is produced by motor, is called electric traction. So for traction purpose, mostly DC series motor used, and both having higher starting. And now it is completely changed. Okay, there also a huge change comes induction motor, squirrel cage induction motors. They are used because compared to the DC motors, they are all completely maintenance free, rigid in construction, and also we can able to realize less dimension of motor for same power. Okay, suppose if I want to realize a 5 HP, 5 horsepower from the one motor, DC motor, same amount of power can be get from AC motor with a lesser size, with a lesser dimension, especially in case of a three-phase induction motor and all. So we have taken all the advantages, and step by step manner, there is a keep on transition is still going on. Okay, so I think it will be converted next 20 years time. So this is about, as you are all non-electrical students, we should know a brief history to electric traction. Okay, so the year 1881 itself saw the birth of first electric railway. Okay, run by a German engineer. Okay, Werner von Simon. That Siemens, we know that now Siemens. So it's with his name only Siemens. He using both the rails to carry the current, finding the little too dangerous. Then Siemens soon adapted to a overhead. So earlier, using in a track only, he used to send. What is a track? Okay. So if anybody exposed to that, it will be this. Then after that, he is able to adapt it to overhead electric device. So what he adapted that concept in 1881, only still we are continuing. And also in the electric traction was introduced in Indian railways in the year 1925. So with a small prototype model. Okay, so that's also with 1.5 kilovolt DC. Okay, DC motor between Bombay and Victoria terminus. Bombay's Victoria terminus and Kurla. So one Kurla, that is also one terminus is there. Okay, so between them they have used a small electric train. Okay, along with the harbor in the 1925. So, but after that, what happened is a huge number of diesel engine only they have used because it is cost investment. At that time only after 1947 India got independent, that they have to concentrate on more on especially agriculture sector. They have to concentrate more dams and all for the infrastructure development they have to spend. So that's why they are completely diverted to diesel traction only. Okay, so in the 1959 once again first actual train run. Okay, so with the 25 kV AC they are used. And in the 1957, Indian Railways decided to adapt 25 kilovolt 50 hertz AC traction system based on a French railway technology. Based on a French railway technology, they are used 25 kV 50 hertz. So that for that also they identified a Mumbai region only. Then, so if you see the world's first electric locomotive is in Valtellina, northern Italy. So in the year 1898 to 1902, power supply is three phase 15 hertz 3 kV. So that is 3000 volt with the AC motor 70 kilometer per hour. At the time itself, they are able to produce. Okay, so with the speed of 70 kilometer per hour, it was designed by a Hungarian company. So like electric cars, okay, electric vehicles, so which also started in the late 18th century. So this electric traction concept also in the late 18th century it was developed, but because of the abundant amount of quantity of fuels available at that time, and also accordingly as a follow-up of that or consequences of that, internal combustion engines also developed because of that particular industrial revolution and all. So more amount of textiles and other industries are coming up, steel industries, they all need huge amount of power, and that can be met out with a this type of fuel based engine, that is gasoline engine. Automatically this type of traction industry also they adapted. They forgotten to proceed further. Okay, so maybe in the late 18th century they have developed, but after that, maybe 1915 only, huge investment that happened on that particular electric traction. So in India, so the typical voltage used for electrical traction are 1.5 kV DC and 25 kV AC for mainline transmission line. Okay, so Calcutta had an overhead 3 kilowatt DC system until the 60s. So as I already told, so DC traction only they used. Now almost it is switched over to 25 kV AC overhead line. Okay, and earlier they used fractional, that is fractional kilowatt, 550.5 kilowatt DC also they have used. Okay, Calcutta trains and all. So now almost Indian Rail, okay, so they are adapted. So when the supply end is concerned, 25 kV for the transmission, okay, for substation. So for supply of voltage and all the concern, they are used 132 bar 110 kV substations. Okay, so and very often they are installed the boosting substation, voltage boosting substations also. So now Indian Railway receiving, okay, so receiving from the generating station through substation in 132 kV, and they converted it to 110 kV for complete transmission at the feeding end. Above the overhead line, they are used 25 kV. So if you very often, if you go to any, I think any railway station, if you have to reach any platform through, okay, overbridge and all is there to reach or to move from one platform to another platform, you can able to see there'll be one 25 kV, 25,000 volt dangerous like that will be. So you should not touch, or you should not try to catch any transmission line, or you should not hold any stick to touch the line. So to given warning, okay, 25 kV, so 25,000 volt is going like this. So for complete traction purpose, they are converted this 110 kV, okay, to a 25 kV. So with the overhead transmission line. So it's a type of electrical traction system that is used is in India, DC traction, AC traction, and multi systems. Multi systems also is there. That means, so if they are having both thing, okay, so they are having both thing. So initially for starting, whenever where they are stopped and all, and they are used now. Almost this multi system is obsolete. So they are using AC traction system only. AC traction more than 80. So earlier they used multi system. So whenever the train is stopped, in order to produce a very huge amount of torque, they are engaging the DC series motor during the running. After running, after reach a certain speed, okay, they cut down the DC and they start using AC motors only for further power propulsion purpose. Okay. So DC traction also we should know, because almost it is now it is not existing. Okay, so automatically huge amount of money and huge amount of maintenance is also required in order to keep the particular system intact. We need a very huge amount of investment. So now almost they are all removed. Okay, they are all converted to DC traction to AC traction, but we should know what is DC traction. Okay, the most popular line voltage for overhead we already see 1.5 kV, 1.5 kV to 3 kV DC. Okay, so what's the disadvantage? The expensive substation are required in a frequent interval in order to maintain the voltage, and overhead wire must be relatively large and heavy, because DC, if you want the DC current, carrying the DC current, okay, and applying a DC voltage across the lines, we need a heavier, larger diameter conductors, because you know that what is a very big disadvantage is DC system. Whatever with the high voltage, only two wires, positive and negative. Okay, so whereas in AC we can go for three-phase system. So three-wire system, three phases and one neutral also. So automatically, if power is transferred by means of a two-wire system, if it will go to three-wire system, automatically the diameter of the wire is can be reduced. And in additional one is we can able to increase the voltage also. In case of AC system, if you are increasing the AC voltage, so wire can be, dimension can be minimum possible. Okay, I can able to transmit a very high voltages also. Okay, so diameter of the conductor plays a very important role for maintenance. It requires, and especially series wound direct current motors are well suited for rail traction, being simple to construct and easy to control. So it is also having a disadvantage is that very often we have to replace the carbon brushes. So because after certain kilometer run, because DC series motor, what is happening? So we know that very much, that is armature. Armature is the rotating part, which is only responsible for the required amount of torque to be produced. But in the real construction of that, it is a rotating part. Unlike AC, what is happening? Field is rotating. Okay, armature is stationary. So, but whereas here in DC motors, armature is rotating, which has to carry the whole current, very big current. So, if that particular arrangement has to be rotated, a proper maintenance required, and very often carbon busts and maintenance problems also occurs. And especially sparking. Okay, sparking will occur if properly not maintained. So there'll be huge amount of sparking will come. Okay, because of not having a smooth surface on the commutator. Okay, so there are a lot of issues also there. That is why they have converted from DC to AC traction. As far as in India concerned, we have used 25 kV AC 50 hertz. Okay, so there is a three different thing identified. One 15 kV AC with a 16.7 hertz. Okay, fractional frequency. But as far as India concerned, 25 kV AC 50 hertz. As far as US and other countries concerned, 25 kV AC 60 hertz system is used. Okay, so what is a very big advantage is reduced weight of supporting structure. So that's what I told. If in case of a voltage is increasing in AC, okay, that is even capable of we are transmitting the particular voltage, high voltages with the less dimensional wires. Okay. Then another one is if wire dimension is reduced, whatever the supporting structure that carrying the wire also can be reduced weight and reduced capital cost of electrification. There is no any need of rectifier or converter arrangement because generation is happening in AC. But when we have to feed or when we have to supply the traction system, we have to convert to DC means then automatically rectifier. It rectifier involves a lot of semiconductors. So automatically all these problems can be averted. That can be avoided. Whatever the simple thing is we are doing is stepping up, stepping down, okay, to a required voltage. So a railway is receiving at 130 kV, and whenever in the overhead transmission line, it is converted into a 25 kilovolt. So simple transformer is enough to step up the voltage and step down the voltage to a required one. So that will reduce the capital cost of electrification. So the main advantage is that will reduce. So whatever maybe the figure it's showing is vague. Okay, it's a 9 type. It is rated power is 5000 HP horsepower, 5000 horsepower. So with the speed of 140 kilometer per hour. Okay, so this is using a DC motor and multi-system. And multi-system also is there because of the variety of railway electrical system which can vary within the country. Trains often have to pass from one system to another system. That is another one. When they changed or when there was a transition between DCT system to AC system, so all of the okay, within a day, we cannot able to completely make all the DC system to AC system. Step by step manner only, they have converted the existing DC system. So, but as far as the train is concerned, it has to travel from one place to another place. So, so there is a need of multi-system that has to be accommodated in the locomotive. Then only where the DC distribution system, DC system is there, it will run with the DC motor. Whenever it is moved to a AC systems area converted, okay, where the transition over to that area, whenever it moves, there is a AC motors will be used. But now almost they are removed the multi-system. As you know that very well, advantage of any electrical vehicle, the same is applicable to the advantage of a electric traction system also. Okay, so automatically, so faster acceleration, fewer locomotives. Earlier, if you want to realize very huge amount of power, so if you want to connect more compartments, more coaches to the particular engine means additional engines are needed. Okay, now with a single locomotive that is capable of even carrying 32 up to 32 coaches, okay, compartments with a speed of 140, kilometer per hour. So faster acceleration and higher practical limit of power. So we can able to use the power in optimized manner. Higher limit of speed also increased. Okay, higher hauling capacity also is there. So very importantly, okay, no any carbon emission, no any exhaust fumes, because it is whenever you are using any electrical energy, it won't leave, it won't release any kind of byproduct. Okay, so only in the appliances where we are using, additionally maybe heat may be generated That is unwanted one. Because of that only, maybe efficiency slightly decreasing. Okay, but there won't be any other emissions. Okay, exhaust fumes also is there, and less noise pollution. So if any electric traction is there, so automatically motors are run at very high speed on producing high torque without any noise. That is a very big advantages of using the electric motors for this type of tractions. Less noise pollution also is there. The maintenance cost of electric locomotives nearly 50% of that of steam locomotives. Steam locomotives very often there will be some problem, because we also know that in steam engine around some 9,000 parts are moving. When it's working, it has to move. But whereas electric motive, it is only rotational parties or rotor only. All others are remaining stationary. That too, rotors are having not having any windings, skewed bars only in case of induction motors. So there won't be any much problem. Okay, mechanical problem, maintenance problem will occur. Of course, there is a need of maintenance, but not very frequently as that of a steam locomotive. So we can able to save 50 percentage of the maintenance cost. And electric locomotive it can be started at a moment. So and so there is steam, temperature, pressure has to be maintained. Then only the I can able to start my engine. Okay, so and likewise a diesel engine also. So it has to be started the moment, the instant I want to start, I can able to start, because it is an electric locomotive. Motors can be started immediately with the required amount of speed and torque. And motors used in electric traction having a very high starting torque, as I told. Yeah, very important. So compared to the internal combustion engine or gasoline engines. Okay, and also acceleration, very good acceleration. And another advantage is about 80 percentage of energy taken from supply during the ascent is returned during the descent. That means deceleration. When the deceleration and braking operations occur, here it means that regenerative braking. When I'm decelerate, automatically what will happen? I'm just cut down the supply. So I'm just cut down the supply. Automatically, due to the moment of inertia, vehicle will be rotating. That will be produced by electric motor. So now, because of the moment of inertia, the motor will be keep on running. That will be acting as a generator. So where the supply is zero, so automatically reversible power flow will happen. So that reversible power, if I am able to properly transmit it or return back to the feeding wires, this is called regenerative braking. Okay, so that is a very important advantages. Okay, we are not wasting. Okay, the braking power and good traffic on gradient becomes safe and speedier. So we can able to very safer manner, speedier manner. We can able to conduct all the transportation of any electric trains. Okay, since height of an electric locomotive is much less than that of steam locomotive, its center of gravity is comparatively low. This fact enables an electric locomotive negotiate curves. So during the laying of a railway lines and all. Okay, so automatically that when the cows like structure, so if a higher speed it goes, there may be a fall down. Okay, engine may fall down or derailing. We are calling it a derailing and all. So that type of problem will not be occur. So compared to the any size of steam engine with the same capacity of power, diesel engines are very small. So automatically the center of gravity comparatively low, and electric trains may be powered from a number of different sources. So if you're having a steam engine, like a vehicle, it has to carry its own energy, like a steam engine, diesel locomotive. But whereas here we are completely going to tap, or we are going to get energy, electrical energy from the overhead transmission line only. So automatically, what will happen is that energy can be interconnected. Okay, so we are having a very good grid structure throughout India. We are having an electric grid. So all the generating stations, all the loads, distributing stations, substations, up to a load end. Okay, up to a load end, we are all connected electrically. A proper grid system is there. I can able to tap whatever the energy I need from wherever I am going. Okay, that type of system is created. So because of that, I need not to depend on a single generating station or single transmission line alone. That transmission line in turn will be kind of interconnected system. Interconnected system is nothing but grid connected. So if one substation fails, okay, which is supplying, so automatically that can be bird, that can be compensated by the other generating station by means of additionally producing some fractional extra. Say for example, I am having, assuming that the overall railway system in particular area is governed or contributed by 5 generating stations, each 100 megawatt. Okay, suppose 100 megawatt generating station fails because of some problem and all. So remaining and all producing 400. So they have to additionally produce some 25 megawatts, etc. Okay, so you know that we will not always operating the generating station with the fullest capacity. So the reserve capacity also will be there. That reserve capacity can be used. So now without any problem, the train or whatever the traction system can go ahead without anything. So that is a very important thing. But whereas if you have any locomotive problem, diesel locomotive, the steam engine, other things, if there is any trial, any failure of the particular locomotive, then complete in the particular track, whichever coming train behind them, the particular train, everything will be delayed, operation will be delayed. So there won't be any much problem. Okay, so in case of a electric traction system, especially AC traction system. And electric trains do not have any carry around the weight of their fuel, like so automatically, as I already told. So we are always tapping the energy from over transmission line. There won't be any concept of fuel tank or any place that has to reserved for the energy that has to be supplied for the train. Okay, it's for the traction system. So fully electrified railway has no need to switch between the methods of traction, making operation more efficient. Okay, so one country is completely AC traction means there won't be any need of switch between the methods of traction. Okay, so if a same engine is capable of running from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Okay, so if there is no any system, DC traction, AC traction, completely AC traction system means it is more efficient. Okay, automatically the operation is more efficient, time saving one. Okay, and other thing advantages. So, disadvantages. Okay, so initially we have to invest because not only the laying the traction, that is railways alone is the problem. Now above the railway tracks, we have to go for the overhead transmission line also with the proper support and all. So to collect pantograph will be, every engine will be having a pantograph that will be collecting the current from that. So in order to have a very good performance of that, with the proper supporting system, we have to lay a overhead transmission line also. That will increase the significant capital cost. Okay, so and also very often that has to be maintained also. Maintenance of the particular transmission line also is there. So overhead wires further limit the clearance in tunnels. When we are using tunnels and all, we have to give a proper clearance for them also overhead transmission line. This will be additionally increasing the cost. And upgrading things whenever, so earlier I told one example, so they switched over from DC traction system to AC traction system. So automatically it is also one kind of upgrading. Okay, so from one traction system to another traction system, so it will bring automatically significant cost. Okay, and railway traction needs immune power with no cuts, warranting to, so it has to be uh, complete system always live. So we cannot make any power cut. We cannot say that no to that particular one. So it will like a essential service there. So always it has to be provided with a required amount of power. So automatically what will happen? So government cannot be rely on the existing infrastructure of its own. So definitely the private participation. So private sector participation also is need. So automatically what will happen? So the pricing for the but energy cost will be increased because private people, private firm also we have to rely on, means they have to sell the power to the government. So they will, with the marginal benefit only they will sell, apart from the production cost and all. So huge amount of power has to be uh, buy. Okay, the government has to buy the power from the private sector also. So automatically, which obviously comes at a premium price. Okay, because there is no cut is permitted, warranting duplication of transmission distribution system. It is not permitted. It's the exclusively should be used for the traction system alone. It cannot be shared by any other thing. So in order to ensure that automatically it will comes at a premium price. Okay. So this is how it will looks like. Okay. If you see that catenary system, catenary. Okay. You see that catenary system is there. It is a transmission line. So that will be very top one. After that, the droppers will be there. So this will be a dropper. Okay. Then we will have a contact wires. Contact wires. So the catenary wire is carrying the entire structure. Then in turn, this catenary wire at the end, if you see that with a supported system with a proper weight and all, it will always provide a particular tension. And so that will be wires will be carried per wires. Okay, so this is how the entire system is there. So we can able to have two different things: single catenary and compound catenary system. So this is what pantograph we can able to see. Yeah, this is this is what it happened. So if you go, if it is a railroad, if it is a railroad, automatically here this catenary wire between the structure, okay, it is carrying the particular wire. This is called single catenary construction. Single catenary construction. Then it is having a droppers. So after particular, it is having a dropper wire that will be carrying the real, okay, conduct wire. So automatically, when the train is moving using this from this line only, using a pantograph, it will be getting the power energy. Okay. Another one is compound catenary. Okay. So if you see that here, the dropper wire will not be straight away carrying the conductor. It will be carrying. Okay. See, it will be like a loop like that. Okay. Catenary wire will be there. Then a dropper will make a structure like this. Below that, there is a loop wire will be there. Loop wire will be there. So in that only the contact wire will be connected. In that way only contact wire will be connected. So usually a single catenary construction system is capable of providing a speed up to 120 km per hour. But when the speed is has to be increased, very high speed, Rajdhani Express, that line and all, if you see that, it will reach up to 200 kilometer, 220 kilometer. Okay, that, especially Rajdhani Express, like that system is there. So and also it will not stop at a frequent interval. Okay, and some system. Okay, so where we have to transport goods and all with a very high fast and all. We need catenary construction, compound catenary construction, which can able to provide up to 190 to 224 kilometer per hour. Okay, so this is a very important thing, and yeah, this is what a single catenary construction. Single catenary construction. So in urban, okay, for local trains and all, they used this much only because there is no much need of thing. If you see that, okay, if you see that, okay, so this is the catenary wire. If you go, it will go and it will come down like a wave. It will go. So that is a very catenary wire. In that catenary wire, dropper wire will be connected. In the dropper, contact wire will be. So automatically my pantograph, whatever the collector will be touching this contact wire only, that has to be kept always straight and with the proper tension. Okay. So and this has to be okay, this catenary wire and all, catenary wire should be with the proper structure, it should be supported. So because it is also can carry a current, so automatically a insulator should be used. Then only in the particular post there won't be any leakage current. So very often very often what will do is, when especially when where the booster transformer is mainly to use the voltage always constant, because we already know 25 kV AC 50 watt system we are using, especially with the contact wires, that is a voltage we are providing. So that has to be maintained also. So if you see that return wire, especially in the boost transformer, there will be return wire will be there, that will be always connected to the one of the traction line also, return wire. So because my locomotive, electric locomotive is carrying the power, okay, it's worked on, return current has to be gone on that. If it is particular tracks, it will be connected return wire, so that will be properly earthed, so there won't be any problem of electric shocking and all. Okay, if properly maintained. So this is how a single catenary construction is working. Okay, I think with this I'm stopping. With this, uh, stopping my presentation. Any clarification? Any clarification?